Prepare yourselves. Everything you assumed about 1923 is about to be radically altered. Episode 5 delivers more unexpected turns, deeper betrayals, and raw heartbreak than previously seen. The stakes have escalated. The atmosphere is thick with unbearable tension, and the Duttons find themselves confronting a tempest that threatens their very foundation. This exclusive preview offers the initial true insight into the impending turmoil. Believe me, missing this is not an option. The situation is poised to become intensely brutal. As we delve into episode 5 of 1923, the gravity of the Dutton situation has reached an unprecedented peak. To Spencer's journey, once characterized by his flight from the mafia and his desperate quest for a life away from violence, is now set to intersect with forces far beyond his anticipation. The air crackles with tension as the menace of Banner Creighton and Donald Whitfield's sinister schemes casts a long shadow over them. Spencer might have narrowly escaped one conflict, but the true war is only just commencing. In this chapter, Banner's lust for the Dutton land morphs into something far darker. His previously conflicted nature has yielded to unadulterated ambition. To Banner, the Duttons represent mere obstructions on his path to dominance. We witness him forging alliances destined to cost the Dutton family everything they've painstakingly built. With Donald Whitfield manipulating events from the background, Banner evolves into an even more formidable threat, propelled by a fervent, almost manic desire to seize the land he feels is rightfully his. Yet, the truly chilling aspect is Donald's masterful manipulation. He is a puppeteer of the highest order, and this episode provides a terrifying glimpse into the extremes he's prepared to reach. 4. The instant Donald promises substantial returns to potential investors, the gravity of his words is almost palpable. In this brutal landscape, wealth equates to power, a truth Donald comprehends better than most. He peddles the fantasy of immense riches, but the hidden cost remains ominously unspoken. His proposition appears too advantageous to be genuine, and within the perilous Dutton reality, it undoubtedly is. The looming question is whether anyone can possibly thwart his avarice, or if all will be consumed by his insatiable ambition. 5. Meanwhile, Spencer, though accustomed to conflict, faces what might be his most intensely personal battle yet. The telegraph dispatch to Montana has fallen into hostile hands, specifically Banner's, setting the stage for a move that could shatter Spencer's existence. Spencer's formidable reputation precedes him. Once Banner uncovers the full truth of Spencer's identity and capabilities, he will relentlessly pursue his elimination. The threat extends beyond Spencer's life. His arduous journey, his profound love for Alexandra, and their unborn child are all vulnerable to the cruel machinations of those bent on their destruction. 6. As Spencer confronts this gathering storm, we witness another agonizing portrayal of Alexandra's suffering. Stripped of her dignity, wealth, and former status, her love for Spencer is the sole force propelling her forward. The stark, harsh reality of her ordeal is difficult to bear. Once a duchess, now utterly divested of her past life, she confronts the severe repercussions of her choices. Her struggle transcends love. It has become a desperate fight for sheer survival. Alexandra's plight intensifies as the episode progresses. With nothing left, she falls into the clutches of merciless strangers, her deepest fears materializing. 7. It serves as a brutal testament to the magnitude of her sacrifice for love and her naivety regarding the true cost. Can she endure long enough for a reunion with Spencer, or will she succumb to the unforgiving world she now inhabits? Back in Montana, the situation offers little respite. The Dutton Ranch itself is imperiled as Banner's schemes advance. The Duttons, once a symbol of pride and strength, now face the stark possibility of losing everything. Elizabeth, traditionally a pillar of stability for the family, finds herself in an equally precarious state. Pregnant and exposed, she must navigate the perilous political and emotional currents swirling around the ranch. 8. The imminent arrival of another child, typically a beacon of hope, instead serves as a constant, painful reminder of all that is at stake for the Duttons. As the episode draws towards its conclusion, fractures begin to appear within the Dutton family's very foundation. Each member wrestles with their own inner turmoil, but in a world where survival frequently demands betrayal, can trust endure amongst them? Or will the burden of loyalty prove too great to bear? The forces converging in episode 5 are unyielding, and no one, not even the formidable Duttons, will escape the devastating consequences. 9. The suspense becomes almost unbearable, the stakes climbing higher than ever. With the Dutton's survival hanging precariously in the balance, will Spencer's past finally overtake him? Will Banner's insatiable hunger for power annihilate everything the Duttons cherish? And will Alexandra's harrowing journey culminate in heartbreak or an unlikely redemption? One certainty remains. Episode 5 will leave audiences utterly captivated, clinging to the edge of their seats, desperate for the subsequent chapter. 10. As episode 5 gains momentum, we are plunged directly into the relentless mounting pressure upon the Duttons. The episode swiftly establishes the severity of the family's predicament as Spencer, Alexandra, and their companions confront challenges that threaten to overwhelm them. Merely surviving the mafia in constant peril was insufficient. The Duttons are now ensnared in a sprawling conspiracy aiming to obliterate them from all directions. Evasion is no longer an option. The battle lines have been definitively drawn. 11 episode 5 promises to unveil the deadly repercussions of this escalating war. Spencer's predicament becomes increasingly desperate as he grasps the full extent of Banner's plot to seize the land. Banner's consuming desire to possess the Dutton Ranch, to reshape it according to his vision, transcends mere ambition. It has festered into a dangerous obsession. What makes Banner particularly terrifying is that his actions aren't solely fueled by malice. A distorted rationale underpins his pursuit. He genuinely believes that removing the Duttons will enable him to construct something far grander. 12, however, in this conviction, Banner grossly underestimates Spencer's unwavering determination to safeguard what is rightfully his. Spencer's profound bond with the land and his family is absolute. Regardless of Banner's threats, Spencer refuses to yield without a fierce struggle. Yet this confrontation will differ significantly from past battles. The fight for the Dutton land will compel Spencer to face aspects of his own nature he never anticipated confronting. From the outset of this episode, it's evident Spencer is cornered. 13. He recognizes Banner's expanding influence in his own dwindling options. We witness Spencer grappling with one of his most profound fears, the potential inability to protect Alexandra, the woman he loves, and their unborn child. The personal stakes for Spencer have never been this high. As he uncovers the full scope of Banner's intricate plans, he realizes stopping the imminent chaos requires direct, decisive action. But the question remains, how can a single individual stand against a corrupt, powerful network, especially with Alexandra's fate hanging precariously in the balance? 14, will Spencer be forced to make the ultimate sacrifice to save those he holds dearest? While Spencer wrestles with this looming menace, we also observe a significant evolution in Banner's character. This episode delves into his psyche, revealing his complexities. He isn't merely a caricature of evil. Banner operates under his own warped principles, and we start to comprehend the roots of his entitlement towards the Dutton's legacy. Learning more about his history illuminates that he's not a mindless antagonist, but a man driven by a volatile mix of ambition, deep-seated insecurity, and an overwhelming desire for control. Yet, understanding his motives doesn't mitigate the fact that Banner remains an exceptionally dangerous foe, his strategies to dismantle the Duttons proving more calculated and ruthless than ever. The most shocking development in this episode is witnessing Donald Whitfield's insidious influence spread, transforming individuals like Banner into mere pawns within his larger, more sinister game. It's profoundly unsettling how Donald manipulates the vulnerable and power-hungry, convincing them their ambitions align perfectly with his own destructive agenda. Donald isn't just seeking power, he aims to annihilate anyone obstructing his path, with the Duttons positioned squarely at the top of his list. We begin to perceive the true extent of his reach, and his capacity to orchestrate events from the shadows renders him an even more formidable adversary. Watching Donald operate makes it chillingly clear. His goal isn't merely acquiring land or wealth. He seeks to fundamentally reshape the existing order. The Duttons' entire way of life is under direct assault, and Donald intends to leave them utterly broken, dispersed, and stripped of all power. Meanwhile, far across the country, Alexandra's suffering takes a darker, unforeseen turn. 17, Her world lies shattered, leaving her clinging desperately to the faint hope of Spencer's rescue. But this episode starkly reveals the grim realities she confronts. No longer ensconced in luxury, Alexandra must face the brutal, unforgiving truths of survival in an increasingly hostile world. Her former innocence has evaporated, replaced by the cold, harsh necessity of fighting tooth and nail for her very existence. Her bond with Spencer remains her sole anchor, yet the longer her ordeal persists, the more she questions if the cost is bearable. Witnessing her endure humiliation and profound loss is gut-wrenching, but it also paves the way for one of the most emotionally charged confrontations the series has yet to offer. Can she maintain her grip on hope long enough for Spencer to reach her, or will the overwhelming forces surrounding her finally extinguish her spirit? Back at the Dutton ranch, the family situation grows increasingly precarious.
Yes.
While Elizabeth valiantly tries to maintain stability, her pregnancy compounds the immense weight of their circumstances. The ranch, once a haven, has transformed into a veritable war zone, with each new day bringing fresh threats. The episode plunges deeper into the family's mounting desperation, illustrating how even those perceived as the unshakable foundation of the Dutton legacy begin to fracture under the relentless pressure. We observe Elizabeth and others steeling themselves for what might be their final stand, a desperate effort to protect their land, their heritage, and their very lives. But can they possibly prevail? Will the Duttons mount a successful defense, or will they be overwhelmed by the crushing force arrayed against them? As episode 5 progresses, the tension becomes unbearable. Every character faces a critical juncture. Will they continue fighting for what they cherish, or will they succumb to the seemingly inevitable tide of destruction? With countless lives hanging in the balance, the outcome remains uncertain. Who will endure and who will fall? One thing is undeniable. The path forward is fraught with heartbreak, betrayal, and the ultimate agonizing question of who will emerge victorious in this brutal game of survival. Episode 5 masterfully sets the stage for an explosive confrontation, making it terrifyingly clear that no one, not even the resilient Duttons, will be untouched by the devastating fallout. As the tension within episode 5 escalates further, the pressure on Spencer intensifies to an almost unimaginable degree. The walls relentlessly close in, and each move he makes pushes the Dutton family closer to the precipice. The once seemingly indomitable Spencer, the man who yearned desperately to escape the cycle of violence from his past, now finds himself ensnared in a complex web of betrayal, manipulation, and the stark, unforgiving reality of the world he inhabits. The stakes have transcended mere survival. They now encompass love, loyalty, and the very essence of family. Spencer's role becomes increasingly pivotal as he resolves to confront directly those who seek to obliterate everything he holds dear. In this crucial episode, Spencer undergoes a significant transformation. We witness the man who once recoiled from confrontation, who actively shunned the world's violence, now embracing a more aggressive, darker persona. The man he was is receding as Spencer accepts that he can no longer outrun the encroaching storm. The defense of the Dutton legacy has morphed into his intensely personal war, and he refuses to remain passive while the life he fought so hard to build is threatened. His journey, previously defined by escape, is now characterized by the urgent necessity of fighting for his loved ones. 23, the impending clash with Banner and Donald appears unavoidable, a battle potentially costing Spencer everything. Yet, his fierce determination to protect Alexandra and their unborn child compels him to take a stand in ways previously unimaginable. What renders Spencer's transformation even more poignant is his enduring connection to Alexandra. Their love, once a radiant source of hope and happiness, now feels like a fading ember against the harsh backdrop of their unforgiving reality. Despite being forced into this darker, more confrontational role, Spencer's core motivation remains steadfastly clear. Alexandra. Throughout this episode, we observe Spencer pushing his limits, every action fueled by the unwavering need to honor his promise to her. The profound weight of their relationship becomes emblematic of everything the Duttons are fighting to preserve. Their love acts as a solitary beacon in a world rapidly succumbing to darkness. Alexandra's struggle continues its agonizing descent in episode 5, her situation deteriorating beyond anything previously conceived. Her resilience, which had remained remarkably steadfast, is now tested to its absolute breaking point. She is no longer simply a woman deeply in love. She is a survivor, employing every ounce of her being to cling to the fragile hope that Spencer will locate and rescue her from this living nightmare. 25, yet, with each passing moment, the odds against her seem increasingly insurmountable. The sheer brutality of the world she's trapped in compels her to make choices she never imagined facing, revealing a raw, unfiltered aspect of her character. Alexandra is forced to confront the stark reality of the immense price she has paid for love in her dreams. The woman who once viewed the world with wide-eyed excitement now perceives it through a grim lens of fear and profound desperation. What makes Alexandra's arc so heart-wrenching is her persistent belief in Spencer, even as she begins to doubt her own capacity to endure this harrowing journey. She has already sacrificed so much: her wealth, her social standing, her dignity, and now her very survival hangs precariously in the balance. We witness her being forced into impossible decisions merely to stay alive. The encroaching darkness of her surroundings seems to intensify with every step, casting a deep shadow over her uncertain future. Yet, even amidst the depths of her suffering, her connection to Spencer remains profoundly powerful. She refuses to abandon hope in him, despite losing everything else. Their undeniable love serves as the primary driving force behind her will to survive. 27, but will love alone suffice to save her? Or will the cruel realities of her world ultimately prove too overwhelming? Meanwhile, Banner's intricate scheme advances with full momentum, his alliance with Donald only amplifying his dangerousness. With Banner now fully committed to Donald's objective of destroying the Duttons, he transforms into an even more menacing adversary. We glimpse a side of him previously unseen. His ruthless fixation on claiming what he perceives as rightfully his blinds him to all else. His alliances, forged out of desperation, are poised to trigger a violent escalation. There's no retreat for Banner now. In episode 5, he irrevocably crosses the point of no return, his character utterly consumed by ambition. Even more disturbing is his manipulation of those closest to him, including his own wife, to achieve his ends. The terrifying lengths he's prepared to go for control reveal a willingness to sacrifice his own humanity in pursuit of power. Donald, true to form, continues to orchestrate events with sinister precision. He remains the shadowy figure behind every strategic move, manipulating individuals like Banner to edge closer to his ultimate objective: the complete annihilation of the Duttons. As he persists in dangling promises of wealth and influence, those who follow him become unwitting pawns in his elaborate destructive game. His plans grow increasingly devious, and with each passing moment, the Duttons' chances of survival seem to diminish further. However, Donald's supreme confidence might ultimately prove his undoing. He dangerously underestimates the resilience of the Duttons, particularly Spencer. This episode offers subtle hints of his potential downfall, rooted in his over-reliance on manipulation. The Duttons have weathered worse storms before, and their inherent strength, especially Spencer's, could be the decisive factor that finally turns the tide against him. Back at the Dutton Ranch, Elizabeth's role assumes greater significance than ever. 30. Her pregnancy serves as a potent symbol of hope, yet it simultaneously underscores the immense risks the family confronts. As tensions mount, Elizabeth must navigate the treacherous waters of familial loyalty versus self-preservation. Having already endured profound loss, and now with a child on the way, she faces the daunting task of protecting both her immediate family and the enduring legacy of the Duttons. The pressure on her to remain steadfast beside her family is immense, and in this episode, we witness her remarkable transformation into a fierce protector. She is no longer merely the rancher's wife. She is a warrior prepared to fight relentlessly to ensure her family's survival. As we progress through episode 5, the impending confrontation between the Duttons and their adversaries becomes starkly inevitable. Every character, from Spencer and Elizabeth to Banner and Donald, treads a precarious tightrope. With betrayal poisoning the air and alliances constantly shifting, no one remains safe. The world of 1923 stands on the brink of erupting in ways previously unimaginable. What sacrifices will be necessary for the Dutton survival, and who will ultimately be left standing amidst the ashes of this brutal conflict. As episode 5 unfolds, the emotional stakes continue their relentless climb, forcing us to confront the devastating consequences stemming from the characters' choices within the unforgiving landscape of 1923. 32. No one is immune, and the capricious turns of fortune feel almost unbearable. Spencer's path grows increasingly fraught with peril, his desperate struggle to shield Alexandra from the encroaching forces, setting the stage for some of the series' most intense and emotionally charged moments. Yeah, the episode delves deeply into the escalating tension between Spencer and Banner, their conflict evolving into a raw, full-blown battle of wills. Banner, initially a secondary threat, now emerges as one of the most formidable adversaries the Duttons have ever encountered. His interest extends beyond mere land acquisition. He is resolutely determined to dismantle the entire foundation the Duttons have painstakingly built. Banner's manipulations grow sharper, his willingness to employ any means necessary to achieve his objectives, rendering him even more dangerous. This episode reveals a more sinister facet of his character. His actions stem not just from greed, but from a deep-seated resentment and bitterness. Banner feels inherently entitled to the Dutton land, convinced his vision for its future vastly surpasses theirs. His cold, calculating demeanor makes him a terrifying opponent, forcing Spencer into a direct, unavoidable confrontation. However, Spencer battles more than just Banner's ruthless ambition. He fights against a system inherently biased against him. 34. The traditional world of the Duttons, once steeped in strength and heritage, is being systematically crushed beneath the weight of modern forces indifferent to the values that once defined them. As Spencer becomes further entrenched in this desperate fight, we witness his growing desperation to secure a future for Alexandra and himself. The decision to fight for her, to protect her above all else, becomes an almost overwhelming burden. The stakes for Spencer have reached an apex. He's no longer merely battling for survival, but for a fragile chance at happiness, a life liberated from the perpetual violence and heartbreak synonymous with the Dutton name. Yet, as this episode starkly reveals, the true cost of victory in this fight may be far greater than Spencer ever imagined. Meanwhile, Alexandra's struggle continues its tragic and unpredictable trajectory. Facing the brutal realities of her journey, she is thrust into situations capable of breaking even the most resilient individuals. Her fortitude, once a beacon of hope, is tested to its absolute limit as she confronts choices that could irrevocably alter her life's course. Her vulnerability is palpable and painful to observe. Having plummeted from the pinnacle of her privileged existence, Alexandra now finds herself utterly stripped of wealth, status, and most devastatingly, her sense of self. In episode 5, she faces her most harrowing challenge yet, simply surviving long enough for a potential reunion with Spencer. 36. The immense emotional toll this ordeal exacts is impossible to overlook, and the manner in which she carries this crushing burden is nothing short of heartbreaking. The love shared between her and Spencer remains her guiding light, her beacon of hope, yet that hope flickers precariously as her situation becomes increasingly dire with each passing day. Alexandra's journey in this episode serves as a stark, brutal reminder of the era's harsh realities and the exorbitant price of pursuing love in such a perilous world. The stakes for her are impossibly high, compelling the audience to confront the grim possibility that in 1923, happy endings are a rare, perhaps non-existent commodity.